Greetings, everybody. This is Samantha Gates with Scribe Software, and I'm here today with
Joshua Solomon with Scribe Software. And today we're going to talk about getting your connectors to Scribe Software so that we can include them into our marketplace.
This is going to be great. This is the icing on the cake, and everyone needs to know how to do that.
All right, so the way we work with your connectors, if you've created a custom connector for Scribe Online, we actually need that source code to integrate into our build system so that we can deploy your connector into the Scribe Online platform. So we actually compile it with the platform to make sure that everything is safe. So in order to do that, we ask you to submit your code through GitLab. GitLab is an open source, Git-based source control system. Okay, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. Congratulations, you've got a connector and you're ready to release it. GitLab is your friend, email is your friend, Scribe is your friend. So you're going to send us all the information that we ask for here, and we're going to get you certified and get you into our marketplace. All right.
So your GitLab account, what is GitLab? I hear about GitHub, but I haven't heard about GitLab.
Well, GitLab is the same as GitHub. It is free. That's a major reason why Scribe has chosen that platform. It allows you to create free source control projects that are private, isolated to you and Scribe, so that you don't have to publicize your source code. Your source code remains your intellectual property on GitLab. So we've chosen GitLab, and we ask that you just go to gitlab.com and sign up for an account. And once you do, let us know what your account username is, and we can include you into your own private GitLab project for your connector so that it's privately shared between you and Scribe Online.
Right, and I think that privacy and that segregation and segmentation that GitLab provides is, as you said already, the main reason that we went with that instead of GitHub.
Right, exactly. It's because it's private and it's free. Whereas with GitHub, we would be asking our partners to pay a premium for private projects. So submit your code to GitLab. Once we've coordinated with your GitLab account and Scribe's GitLab account, you'll submit your code, and then Scribe will most likely make a couple of changes. One of the major issues that we find is a directory structure. We may have to change your directory structure within your C# project or whatever type of language you use so that it works with our build server. We just have to change that structure slightly, and once we do, we'll let you know. And you'll just simply refresh your project and start from there, working forward on any bug releases or any modifications that we ask for. Certification. Certification is important. Scribe actually, once you've submitted your code, we review your source code not in a QA fashion, more in a threat assessment fashion. We make sure that your code is not dangerous, that it's not memory leaking, and it's not going to harm the platform in any way. And that's really all that we look for. We're not looking for anything other than malicious type code. The major item, when you do submit new code or updates, is you do have to file rev up your file versions. So your connector version must be updated each time that you ask us to submit code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tab out, and we're going to go right into a sample project here. This is a SMTP connector. You'll find this connector in our marketplace. And what I'm showing you here is the connector settings. If you've worked with us through our training videos or our Connector Outlaw videos, the connector settings is going to be very familiar to you. And right here, the connector version variable is what needs to be bumped up, at least that third point. So I've got 1.0.2 here. Once you bump that up, that will allow Scribe's platform to know that a new version is there, and then it will automatically filter down to all of your customers who are using your existing version of your connector. So if you've released a patch that includes a bug fix, you do need to have a version update. Otherwise, the platform won't know to send out those updates to all of the agents that are already using your product. Any build numbers that we want to add to the end, those build numbers will come from Scribe's build server. So don't have to worry about build numbers. We'll take care of any of those additions. Okay, so those are the important things about submitting through GitLab to get to certification. And then we have a couple of requirements on the files that you do submit. So you do need to submit your source code, and you do have to submit any referenced DLLs that go along with your source code.
Right, that's actually pretty key, because if we find that there are extra files there, we will reject the build. We'll ask you to resubmit it with only the reference DLLs. You don't need to provide the DLLs that are already part of the platform, like the Scribe API DLL. You don't have to include that, or anything from the Windows SDK. So all that stuff's already there on the platform, but we do need you just to be mindful of the code that's relevant for your connector itself.
Exactly. And as an example, I'll very quickly tab out again, and we'll drill into another Scribe Labs connector directory here. And what you can see is that this is a Zillow connector, and it requires a Newtonsoft JSON deserialization DLL. So that DLL allows a programmer to work with JSON very easily, and that's a DLL that you may need. It's very popular, so you may need to submit that because that's not part of our platform, but we do support it. So any of those types of dependencies that we don't already include in our platform, you will have to submit with your product. All right.
So as always, this is where email's your friend. Giving us a heads up that your connector has been submitted is really helpful to us. There's no automated notification capabilities within GitLab, so we are dependent on communication to know when things have been submitted. If you submit something before the deadline, great, let us know. We'll start going through this certification process internally. If you're right down to the deadline, that's no problem. We'll take that and run with it. But if you could send us a courtesy email to certification@scribesoft.com, that way we know that things are headed our way. Code submission, we do have a couple of deadlines here. So our code submission deadline is 5 o'clock on the last Tuesday of the month. This is true every month of the year. Sometimes that's close to holidays. We work that right in. We're more concerned about having a consistent date. We will then take about a week's time to get through the review, the certification, and the build process, and we'll release those revised or new connectors out to the Scribe Online platform the first Tuesday of the month. So it takes about a week for everything to roll out. When the new bits are deployed through the agents, if they have a running job, they will finish that job and then deploy the new connector bits. So there's no threat of your new connector affecting jobs in process that your customers may have.
Exactly. So on that note, these deadlines are for new connectors. They're for updated connectors that you've added new features to that you want to roll out to your systems. Right. If, in fact, that you've found a critical bug that's corrupting data for you or for any of your clients that are already using the connector, we can expedite a hotfix if that is the case. But those are kind of outside cases. Those are if you've encountered a serious data corruption issue within your connector.
Okay, so your connector's been submitted, it's been certified, it's deployed to the agent. Is there anything else you have to do? Yeah,
so once Scribe has certified your connector and given it to you in your organization so that you can manage it within Scribe Online, you do have to do some managing. So within your organization, you do need to go to the Marketplace tab on the left-hand side, and what we'll do is we'll very quickly go and have a look at that. So here in Scribe Online, I have my organization. We have a sample organization that we're calling the Manchester Country Club. And I'm coming to the Marketplace, and you can see that because my organization owns a new Scribe Online connector, I have 2 extra tabs. So within those extra 2 tabs that are in your Marketplace, you as a partner of Scribe, as someone who has submitted your own connector, you're the only one who sees these tabs. So under your tab, your connectors tab, you'll have a list of any connectors that you've submitted to us and that we've certified and deployed for you. Here we have one connector includes a logo, and you can see that it's not in the marketplace according to the information here, but I can hit the edit button, and I've got a few things that I can do with my connector. I can choose to show that connector in the marketplace. I can choose to make the installation public, and I can also say that I want to show the connector in the marketplace, but I don't want anybody to be able to install it just yet because I want them to contact me first. And that is the by request feature, and you can add a URL here that allows you to direct folks who have seen your connector logo in our marketplace to contact you directly for installation. So you've got a few things that you can do here. So obviously, if you want your connector to be public, we want you to immediately, as soon as you're certified, come in here, mark the public, show it in the marketplace, and hit OK. And that will allow your connector to be visible in the marketplace.
So one point there too is if you go with the, if you could go back to that screen.
Sure.
On the private option, the by request URL is going to be a web form that's hosted on your company's site. So we will redirect to that URL. You have to let us know what you want us to point folks to. What we've seen people do is just have a simple form for name, email, company name, why they're interested in that connector. And then that allows the other platform partner to connect with that potential customer.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other tab is the Customers tab. So this tab here, again, you own a connector, and so we've added a new tab here that shows you all of the organizations within Scribe Online that have downloaded and installed your connector. So if your connector is public, what you'll start to see is this will fill up with a list of organization names and organization IDs and what connector of yours that they've downloaded, along with the date and the email address of the person who actually did the install. Mm-hmm. So you may want to contact them for lead generation purposes, etc. If you've made your connector so that it's not publicly installable, that you have to, that they have to contact you, you can also force an install into a particular Scribe Online organization by hitting the New button here, typing in the organization ID of the customer that contacted you, and checking off the connector that they bought from you, and hit OK. And once you do that, they will now become a new item in this customer list. And what will happen is any agents they have installed in their organization will immediately start downloading and installing your connector without any assistance, human interaction by them in their organization. So you can install your connector to anyone you want privately in that manner, or you can take a look at all the ones that were installed publicly.
And does that just go out silently, or will the customer see it automatically? Like, what's the customer experience when those
Actually, it will be silent.
Yeah.
For now, I think once the customer requests it and you give it to them, the idea is that the customer is going to go and look for their connector, for your connector in their marketplace. It'll be there. Alternatively, if it is publicly available and just random customers are downloading and installing your connector, you will get an email indicating that your connector was installed. And you can manage that using the notifications tab here. And so we have an option here to be notified when a connector is installed or uninstalled. So you can do that as well.
I like that it can just slipstream to them. I think that's really cool that we can get software there. They don't necessarily have to know about it, but then if you wanted to introduce it to them, you know, the next time you spoke with them or something, you could say,
exactly.
oh, you could go check it out.
Exactly. So. And it works really well, especially with bug fixes and things like that. We can sneak in a bug fix that maybe you don't want to overly publicize, but you want people to get fixed. So, all right, I think that's it about certification and how to communicate with us.
That's right. So this is the one-page takeaway for you. The certification highlights are to submit your code to GitLab. You want to make sure that your file assembly and connector versions all match, and you need to provide the reference DLLs. You also need to send us an email when the code's been submitted, and be mindful of that deadline the last Tuesday of the month. And then once the connector is deployed, you just have to make a decision about whether or not you want it to be visible in the marketplace.
Exactly. All right, so there's that. Any further information for partners, you can go to our website, our SaaS partner website, and we'll have other materials, links to this video, links to other helpful videos and instructions on working with Scribe software.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.